So I was going through some numbers this week for my weekly Monday months of inventory update that I do over on Twitter, and something jumped out at me as something I haven't seen in a few years at least. And that is the fact that across the GTA, active listings are actually down year over year for the first time in years. And it jumped out at me. I figured it would jump out at you. I shared that information on Twitter, but in today's video, I want to break down what is driving this inventory contraction. I know there's a lot of maybe worry out there seeing this headline. Hey, inventory's down. Are we going to be paying out the nose again? I'm going to be answering that question for you today as we break down exactly what is causing inventory to be down year over year. Hey, if you're new around here, my name is Rob Marsiglio. I'm a real estate sales representative with Valerie Real Estate. That's Canada's first ever AI-powered brokerage. And if you like data-driven insights, no fluff, no salesy garbage, this could be the channel for you. I will try to provide you with actionable insights to help you with your home buying or home selling journey. If it does sound like something you're interested in, or you know somebody who might be interested, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really does help me reach more people just like you. Enough of the self-promotion. Let's get right into the meat of today's video. Starting with this finding right here. So I put this out on Sunday evening. That's when I do my compilation of all these stats that I release on Mondays. And it says, well, this is new for the first time in years. Active inventory is down year over year across the GTA. So that is at 20,004 active listings as of February 23rd. Also my wife's birthday, so drop a happy birthday in the comments for her. Happy belated. But you can see that a year ago on the 24th, we were up at 20,151 active listings. Now, GTA home buyers are shell-shocked from the years of bidding wars. It's been a much nicer buying experience, I'd say, over the last few years, but hearing that inventory is down is going to set off some alarm bells for you. I'm going to break down exactly what is driving this inventory change. So first off, I want to highlight something I shared a week ago, and that is the fact that we could see this coming. This was slowly building up to happen at some point this year. You know, back at the absolute bottom for active inventory in 2025, we were just shy of 15,000 active listings. And if you go to 2026, we're at 17,420 active listings. I threw this red line on the chart last week just to show you what that gap looked like at the bottom. And then in last week's update, I showed you how much smaller that gap had gotten. I mean, back in February of 2025, we were at 19,269 active listings, and fast forward a year, that gap shrunk to 19,519. So seeing 2025 inventory eclipse 2026 may not have been a huge surprise to some people. What also might not be a huge surprise is what is driving this active inventory decrease year over year. You can see that I share on a weekly basis what each market segment currently has to offer in terms of active inventory. So I break Toronto up into the freehold and the condo markets. The Toronto condo market at just over 5,500 active listings was the main driver of being down year over year. You can see it's only the Toronto condos and Halton region that were actually down year over year in terms of active inventory. And it's that Toronto condo market that is actually down 505 active listings from a year ago that is making up the bulk of this decrease. Halton also came in slightly down at just 68 shy of where we were 1 year ago. But if we're only down 150 or so listings and, 500 of the shortfall is accounted for by the Toronto condos, it is really the rest of the GTA that is still seeing active inventory patterns follow what we've been seeing for the past few years. In last week's video was pretty heavy on charts from the Habistat, and I'm going to dive into those really for the rest of the video today because yes, I do track these things on a weekly basis, but I only started about 4 years ago. The Habistat has data going back to 2010 on their platform, which is why I love using this tool. But we're just going to be looking at this decade specifically for the rest of the video. And here's the first chart I want to highlight. It is active listings. This is all property types across Durham, Halton, Peel, Toronto, and York. And you can see that in February still, we are 1.4% down from where we were last year at the end of February. If you start scrolling back though, you'll see that the little year over year number at the bottom of this black block is definitely in the positive, and we can keep scrolling back. You're seeing numbers up as high as 50%, 60%, almost 80% in May of 2024. You have to go all the way back to June of 2023 to see the last time that inventory was actually down year over year. And this was just a little blip. It was April, May, and June, and then we start getting back into the positive until all the way back to February of 2022. So it is technically right now the second time, I guess, for a little stretch that we've seen active inventory down year over year across the GTA. Looking at just freehold properties across the GTA, even with a couple days left in February, our active inventory number is still up slightly from where we were back in 2025 at 0.2%. But a similar exercise to what we just did with all property types with freeholds, you have to go all the way back to June of 2023 to see a year-over-year dip in active inventory. Again, it was for those few months, April to June. Then we get back into the black until we get all the way back to February of 2022. Looking at all condo types, you can see that active inventory is down about 3% from where we were last year. Again, this was up big time. Again, similar pattern to what we're seeing on the freehold side until you get all the way back to June, May. April was actually up when it comes to condos, and you can see massive inventory spikes year over year right through 2022 until we get all the way back to February, which is the last time prior to 2023 that we saw a little bit of inventory on the condo side, inventory contraction on the condo side. Active inventory is just one part of the story. It's a metric that I like buyers and sellers to take a look at. Buyers, it lets you know how many options are out there for you in a market segment. Sellers, it lets you know how much competition you are up against in the market at any given point in time. So really kind of drilling these down to the neighborhood or town level is what I like to do for my buyers and sellers, depending on where they're looking. But the other piece of the puzzle that we have to kind of keep our eye on is the rate of sales, because yes, active inventory may be coming down in some market segments. It might make you a little fearful that it's going to be a tight inventory situation, but you need to really look at what is sales activity doing at the same time to give you that full picture of how fast or slow is this market moving. And as you can see from my chart that I put out when it comes to the rate of sales, something that I also do on a weekly basis over on Twitter, back February of 2025, we had 4,031 sales being reported over the previous 30-day stretch. If you fast forward a year, we are shy by just over 300 sales from that pace, even at 3,709 sales that occurred right across the GTA over the previous 30 days from February 23rd. When you lump active listings and rate of sales in together, you can do an equation where you divide those active listings by the rate of sales to tell you what is months of inventory at any given point in time. Months of inventory is a great gauge as to the kind of who has the power in the transaction. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Between 3 and 5 months of inventory is technically a balanced market. Anything less is a seller's market, and anything over is a buyer's market. You have some more time as a buyer. So if we look at all freehold property types across the GTA and we look at the 3-month rolling average of those rate of sales, you can still see that February of 2026 on the freehold side is up at 5.14 months of inventory. That's the highest reading that we've seen this decade. You'd have to go back to kind of April, May of 2025, even September of last year when we got up to 4.79 months of inventory. So the market is even a little slower than what we saw last year at the peaks, and even last year at this time when it was 4.32 according to the Habitat, and that's for freehold properties. A similar story plays out when you look at condo properties, but we're actually at 7.91 months of inventory right across the GTA when it comes to condo properties. That's up from last year's peak in May, which was at 7.01, and last February it was at 6.25. So more than a month and a half higher months of inventory this February compared to last February at this point in time. And that is for all condo properties across the GTA. If you're to look at just Toronto, that number jumps even a little higher to 7.95 months of inventory. Similar pattern, got up to 7.15 last May of 2025. And last February, we were at 6.41 months of inventory. So again, a month and a half increase in months of inventory from last year to this year at this time. Bottom line, don't be alarmed by the headline that active inventory is down year over year. Remember to always include that rate of sales picture to paint the full picture as to what is happening with the market. Again, this is a great exercise to do to give you an idea whether you're a buyer or a seller as to how hot is my market currently. And I'm happy to do that for you. I'm happy to talk through your real estate situation. I'm happy to talk through anything. Spring training baseball has started up. I will talk Blue Jays with you for 15 minutes. All you have to do is go down into the link in the description of this video. There's a Calendly link there that you can book a time directly in my calendar, again, to talk about your real estate situation, Blue Jay spring training baseball, the market in general, whatever is on your mind. If you enjoyed this video or you know somebody who might get some value out of the information I provided or out of my kind of no fluff approach, please like this video and consider subscribing to the channel. Like I said, it helps the growth, and share it with a friend who might get some value out of it. I truly do appreciate you sticking with me right through to the end of this video. Until we speak again next time, please stay safe and cheers. If you did enjoy this video and you want some more content from yours truly, there is another link on screen right now to check out some of the work I've done in the past couple weeks. Don't forget to like and subscribe.